We start in Vietnam, where South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol begins his three-day state visit. He will be sitting down for a summit and meeting with the country's most powerful leaders.
We start in Vietnam this afternoon, where President Yoon Suk-yeol and his Vietnamese counterpart, Vo Van Thuong, have agreed to chart a fresh course of bilateral ties under their comprehensive strategic partnership as announced last December.
An exciting picture of opportunity, synergy, and far-sighted wisdom emerges to describe South Korea's strategic commitment in Vietnam. The economic alliance between these two Asian countries has profound effects due to their long-standing and mutually beneficial partnership. The history of ties between Vietnam and Korea is extensive, as far back as the 13th century when Lai Long Thuong, a prince from the Vietnamese Lai dynasty, immigrated to Korea and fought with the Goryeo dynasty against two Mongolian invasions. Records show that the two peoples had already begun to engage with one another during tribute trips to Ming Qin China from the 16th through the 19th century. Poets from Korea and Vietnam exchanged verses. Patriotic intellectuals and revolutionaries from Korea and Vietnam shared sympathies as enslaved peoples and communicated with one another throughout the colonial era by writing books about their country's histories to learn lessons and to enlighten their peoples. South Korean interest in investing in Vietnam has developed into a complex alliance driven by shared economic and cultural values, as well as shared geopolitical and military goals. Analysts and investors are curious to learn more about the motivations behind the deepening cooperation between these two countries. The exceptional economic development and potential of Vietnam is one of the key elements that has piqued South Korean investor interest in the country. As a result of its rapid economic development over the last several decades, Vietnam is now considered one of Southeast Asia's most prosperous nations. The country's business-friendly legislation, attractive demographics, and competent labor force have attracted Korean firms looking to expand into a new market. The close proximity of the two countries' respective economies is also a major factor. Because of their proximity, trade and investment flows are facilitated, supply chains are optimized, and logistical expenses are minimized. Because of their close proximity, individuals from both countries are more likely to interact with one another and share their customs and traditions. Increasing attractiveness of Vietnamese market. Notwithstanding the predicted death of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, Vietnam will continue to be an attractive location for Korean direct foreign investment. In 2015, there were 91.7 million Vietnamese people, with 69.6 million being adults over the age of 15. There is a great chance for the next generation of Korean manufacturers because of the country's youthful, educated workforce. When compared to other regional direct foreign investment destinations, like Thailand, about 168 USD per month, and China roughly 240 USD per month, Vietnam's minimum salary of 2.4 million to 3.5 million VND, that is 106 to 154 USD, keeps it competitive. Companies in Vietnam have made massive investments in fixed capital and organizational procedures in front of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and the new government officials installed at the 2016 Party Congress have accelerated the pace of institutional reform 21. As a result of these changes, Vietnamese enterprises are becoming more desirable acquisition targets, when before they were primarily a greenfield investment destination. In 2016, the property, consumer goods, and retail sector 23 were the primary targets of M&A activity in Vietnam, which set a new record for the country. Possibilities exist in the nation thanks to its large domestic market and robust industrial infrastructure. Middle-class populations are developing rapidly throughout Southeast Asia, with some estimating that their numbers will double by 20. One company, Lock Group, has ambitious intentions to double its current 60 shopping centers by 5 by 2020. In 2016, it also launched an e-commerce channel 25 and committed up to 2.2 billion USD to an ECMC mixed-use development project, completing the overall strategic alliance. South Korea and Vietnam announced their comprehensive strategic partnership in December 2022, making South Korea the first middle power to establish a comprehensive strategic partnership with Vietnam. Previously, CSPs between Vietnam and just three major nations existed: China, Russia, and India. The elevation of ties between the two countries to that of a CSP demonstrates the importance of South Korea as one of Vietnam's closest allies. With the new comprehensive strategic partnership framework in place, both countries' top officials have pledged more cooperation in marine security, national defense, and the defense sector, maritime and aviation security, as well as nuclear dangers on the Korean Peninsula. are just a few of the shared security problems that have been discussed during the annual bilateral defense talks held between the two countries since 2012. South Korea and Vietnam have committed to expanding their partnership in the areas of maritime security, weapons manufacturing and defense education, and training in 2021. Two refurbished Pomang-class corvettes were donated by South Korea to the Vietnam People's Navy in an effort to bolster its maritime capabilities. During their 3 visits to Da Nang between 2017 and 2019, warships from the South Korean Navy conducted joint training exercises with their Vietnamese counterparts. The Joint Vision Statement on Defense Cooperation between Vietnam and South Korea, which looks forward to 2030, also highlights humanitarian aid and disaster relief efforts, as well as search and rescue operations, as important areas of bilateral security cooperation. In the period between 2017 and 2021, 6.6% of Vietnam's total weaponry imports came from South Korea, making it the 3rd largest supplier after Russia and Israel. South Korea has a chance to become a trustworthy weapons supplier for Vietnam as it seeks to lessen its reliance on Russia. The governments of South Korea and Vietnam agreed to strengthen military relations during their 10th senior-level defense conversation in September 2022. New era bilateral relations. Among the fairly affordable South Korean defense gear, the TF-21 supersonic fighter aircraft could attract Vietnam's attention. Seoul's coordinated strategies to assist clients via loans, repayment flexibility, outgoing offset packages, technology transfers, investments, and industrial collaboration in sectors that often go beyond defense may help Hanoi get agreements. The Republic of Korea may easily strengthen its defense relations with Vietnam by increasing the frequency of its naval visits to that country. The Republic of Korea's commitment to Vietnam's leaders and local populations might be strengthened by regular trips like these, which would also highlight the two countries' shared commitment to bolstering defense cooperation. To further develop bilateral naval cooperation and encourage future significant weapons purchases between the two countries, Seoul should approve Hanoi's recent request for another corvette transfer. It is important to emphasize that the new CSP framework between Vietnam and South Korea does not restrict cooperation to only the areas of defense and strategy. The economic and scientific spheres, among others, are covered, as are other areas of cooperation that are strategically important for both nations. For instance, the ROK has promised to help Vietnam grow its rare earth mineral sector in the face of disruptions in global supply chains, while Vietnam has shown interest in expanding its collaboration with the ROK in chip, battery, and auto production. Vietnam is a core partnering nation in South Korea's Indo-Pacific strategy and the Korea-ASEAN Solidarity Initiative, as stated by South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol. President Yoon said that South Korea will work closely with Vietnam to strengthen collaboration between the two countries with ASEAN and the Mekong River. With this strategy in place, Hanoi will likely maintain its pivotal position in Seoul's future policy towards Southeast Asia. However, the bilateral partnership still has some challenges ahead. While there has been some progress in strengthening bilateral security and defense relations, these connections remain relatively weak and coordinated actions are sporadic and ad hoc. Vietnam's drive for military modernization and weaponry diversification might be beneficial to South Korea's defense sector, but thus far, military-industrial cooperation between the two nations has been limited. Meanwhile, the concept of bolstering defense and marine exchanges has emerged as a central theme in bilateral conversations, although the frequency of encounters or specific themes to be discussed have not been specified. It is imperative that Seoul and Hanoi create actionable initiatives to further their partnership, to match their elevated stature and mutual interests, especially in bolstering regional security, stability, and a rules-based system. The two nations should reimagine their alliance. The issue is how to recast the relationship in light of the improvement. To achieve this goal, they might portray themselves as middle powers working together to build multilateralism in the Indo-Pacific. According to Nguyen Vu Tung, the Vietnamese ambassador to South Korea, both Vietnam and South Korea have been strong proponents of multilateralism and have worked to strengthen multilateral cooperation structures like ASEAN for quite some time. This shared vision will help enhance bilateral relations and advance mutual interests, and it will also contribute to the rules-based order and cooperative multilateralism in the Indo-Pacific. Both nations should work together to advance it. Several factors have come together to make a collaboration between South Korea and Vietnam attractive and productive for both parties. South Korean businesses and investors are drawn to Vietnam because of the country's recent success in attracting foreign direct investment and because of the cultural similarities between the two countries. This growing partnership has the potential to transform the economies of both countries and have a major impact for the whole Southeast Asian region. This was all about Vietnam and South Korea. I hope you liked this video. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for further interesting videos. Till the next, stay safe.